I'm scared. So that is a very normal and natural response. Almost everybody who has had a major injury like an ACL and had to have a surgery after it is going to be majorly hesitant about getting back into that sporting arena. And it's perfectly normal to be like that. So it's the first thing. Don't worry about it. The fact that you're quite hesitant. The return to play and return to judo, particularly in the contact sports, is quite harrowing. It's not so much harrowing in the fact that, like, I know you want to get back and you want to get back into playing and training and all that. But the major hesitance comes in the point where you might get thrown and you tweak your knee and someone will immediately grab their knee. We'll see this time and time again where players have had recurring injuries or they've previously injured that area and they'll suddenly be very, very worried about the knee or the joint itself when they get a small twinge or a small tweak in it. The first thing you need to understand is the level of surgical repair you've gone through is going to be incredibly robust if you're getting an ACL done in the year 2025. You're going to have an amazingly strong bond by the time you're finished with your surgery sign off, your rehab sign off, and you've come back through a return to play protocol. So I would say if you've been signed off through all of those stages and you're good to return to play, that knee is about as good as that knee is ever going to be. The second thing we would add on top of that, what we're looking to do basically here is build a mountain of unbeatable momentum in terms of how mentally strong you feel about the knee. The second thing we add on top of that is we start making real measurable changes to the stability, the strength, and the power within both of our legs. So a lot of the time we're tearing an ACL, they're very preventable things. There are certainly cases where the leg gets pinned. Field sports, for example, where we're wearing long studs or cleats and that gets pinned into the floor, maybe somebody stands on their foot and then we get tackled or cleared off the ball and we get this really aggressive shear force or twisting force around the knee. Both of those things will do massive damage, and it's not that they're not completely, or not that they're not preventable, but they're very difficult to prevent those kind of injuries. In most cases, though, when we see ACL injuries, it's jumping, landing, sprinting, and accepting force from the floor is where the ACL will tend to tear. So let's say, for example, you're going for a throw, you're standing on that standing leg, your opponent twists a bit more than you thought they were going to twist, and now that force coming up through the floor in combination with your force going down through the knee gets to the point where we're rupturing an ACL and MCL, damaging some meniscus. In this case, when we're talking about stacking this momentum on top of each other, we're going to make massive increases to the actual physical performance of the leg. And what that looks like is Bulgarian split squats being as heavy as you've ever had them before. High bar back squats to full depth being as good in terms of technical, but also as good in terms of speed and power and actual number on the bars you've ever had them before. We want to look at plyos, so the elasticity and pliability of those tendons. What do my tendons and ligaments look like when I'm in those highly loaded and sprung positions? So that can be drop jumps, depth jumps, broad jump, triples, all of these things where we're jumping and landing and then jumping again. We're going to build up as much momentum with that training as possible to the point where when you get back onto the tatami and you get back into kind of full force training, you're going to feel very different than you've ever felt before standing on your two legs. And that is, it's really a combination of these two things. It's an understanding of the level of work that's gone into reconstructing the knee and the combination of our surgeon, our physio, and our strength and conditioning coach adding all of their expertise into that. And then we'll stack on top of that all-time strength performance with the knee. And you should be a little less scared when you step on the mats the next time.
Fred, this is why it seems like a lot of high-level athletes are kind of psychopaths, is because a lot of them don't even have those thoughts.
Never.
They don't have those thoughts of, I might get injured again, or they've really weird self-beliefs. And if you get to know elite athletes for long enough, you start to see this bleeding into other areas of their life. It might be related to training or other things where something might be completely adverse to reality, but they will refuse to believe it. And this is part of the trait that makes them really good athletes, is the fact that they have this unshakable self-belief, often incorrect when it comes to other areas. I won't specify what I'm talking about. But it does happen, and the reason they can come back to training faster and don't have this issue again is the fact that they just don't have this kind of thought process a lot of the times. So it's just something to think on there.
It's incredibly true.